This podcast is brought to you by Winner Circle. It is our quarterly contest inside of our market, and our first one is the Winner Winners Ducks Dinner. Associates, DSCs, RSCs, you hit your quarterly metric and you are going to a Ducks game with the market staff. Hit your 4 new accounts, hit your Fireball, hit your All-Star, and you're coming with us. Welcome to LA Legends, where Aflac pros sharpen skills, swap stories, build the LA market one legend at a time. I'm Michael Fisher.
And I'm Michelle Lee. Each week, we sit down with leaders who face challenges, learn through experience, and turn those moments into motivation for growth.
And I am so excited because we have somebody today that truly embodies that mindset. Morgan Gallagher. She is the market trainer of Colorado, New Mexico North. Morgan, she's known for her ability to reframe adversity by focus, but she's also just a thought leader between all the market trainers. She's worked and out in the field, been incredibly successful. And Michelle and I are very, very fired up. Welcome, Morgan. Thanks for joining us today.
I am honored to be on. Thank you for having me.
Morgan, every time we're at the trainer conferences, I gravitate towards you because every single conversation we've had, I've learned so much of just facilitation, but also experience, right? And you've been an associate in a district out in the field as well. And I've had an opportunity to listen to some of the podcasts you've been a part of and some of the things you've learned, not just professionally, but also personally as well. So can you share a moment where you faced a bit of adversity and how to shift that mindset to turn that challenge into a source of motivation for yourself?
The one thing that comes to mind, and I'm going to preface this by saying the reason I'm at where I'm at today is because I have failed forward. I have, and every time I fail, I look for a lesson from it. And that's due to the great leaders that I've had the chance to work alongside, phenomenal leaders. And so I was an agent for 2 years, district for 2 years, and then was realizing I was quickly approaching burnout because I wasn't starting to scale the business. Well, also understood that my passion is in the training component to make something so simple for someone to fully grasp it and that anybody can step into this business. No matter what your experience has been, no matter what age you are, anybody can be successful with this if you have a strong enough why. And so I applied for the market trainer position in Colorado, or not in Colorado, in Iowa, Minnesota with Aspen. And I didn't get it. I lost it to a phenomenal leader, Luke Baumgartner. He got the market trainer position and it was well-deserved. And at that point, it was one of the most pivotal points in my career because Aspen called me and she said, hey, I want to give you some feedback. You are phenomenal. I believe you'll be in this role at some point. But if I pull you out of the $1.2 million district that you're leading right now, it will fall. It will collapse because you don't have a successor. And that was the point where I realized I needed to start to scale my business where, I was holding everything up as best as I could. But that's also why I was approaching burnout, is because I was not scaling the business. And so my RSC sat down with me, put a plan in place, and in the next 3 months had the chance to hire a district asset manager, a CIT, and an administrator in that time. Did I think that I could afford it quite yet? No, but it was an investment in my future, which was to become a market trainer. And so then fast forward March of 2020, and I have the chance to interview for the market trainer position with Eric Leger and Texas Houston and have the chance to get it. So it was that was one of the biggest lessons as far as you can only grow so far. And you will continue to butt up against a ceiling unless you do something different and you start to then develop those that can take on different roles so you can remain in your sweet spot along the way.
While you were going through that, Morgan, did you have a moment outside of going through that interview process where you're like, oh my gosh, I am genuinely wearing every single hat? Did you do anything on a personal development side, read a book or things like that actually helped you scale out your business a little bit more during that time?
Yeah. I think 2 things come to mind. So going back to when I was a district, really, I was just going off of work ethic. And that's what my parents taught me, was just always give 110% in everything that you do. You're never going to come as probably the most experienced or the smartest person in the room. If you are, you're in the wrong room, but always bring the work ethic. So
Hmm.
that's all that my career was built on as an agent and as a district. And then it got to the point where my RSC started to challenge me even further to start to lead Monday morning meetings, seeing that he saw something in me before I saw it in myself. He said that if you're going to host a meeting, there needs to be a couple of components inside of it. So they need to think about something, they need to develop a skill, and then they also need to be able to feel something. And so the feel something component, now incorporating that to really set the tone, knowing that how all of us wake up with just negative thoughts, we don't
Hmm.
feel motivated.
No.
I think that's where we fail often in life is we create goals or calendars based on when we're feeling most motivated instead of what are we unwilling to waver on, and we're going to stay committed even when we're not feeling like doing it. And so by him challenging me to do that, to set the tone for my team as far as the attitude, the mood for the team, and to get an object in motion, I started with motivational videos and then incorporating them into Monday morning meetings, which then also expanded to Friday cool downs, and then a motivational message in the morning. And then inviting the team to be a part of that, where I would assign them a specific day, and then each agent would have a day where they shared a motivational message to then start to help them control the 5 inches between their ears. And then it really
That's
just
awesome.
expanded from there, where I was never a morning person. Y'all listen to the previous podcast that I was on. I was never a morning person, but now the morning is the only time that I have for myself. And I wake up some mornings, maybe some can relate to this. I wake up some mornings and I'm just in a pissed off mood. I don't know why. I'm just frustrated,
Yeah, for sure.
not look forward to whatever is going on that day. And I can never figure out why that is. And so there's typically two tools that I've learned along the way. One is that I can't be grateful and frustrated at the same time. So I need to count what I'm grateful for. And then the second is I need to plug in. I need to fuel my mind with a podcast or an audiobook
Hmm.
of some sort. And then the final thing is I said there's two, but there's three. There's always one more. The final thing is also who am I surrounding myself with? So, who is in my sphere? And right now, I have the opportunity to work with one of the best leaders in all of Aflac, which is Adam Wickman. And to be in his sphere just makes me a better person. So, it's pretty great.
Yeah, he's solid, but you're so right. I mean, I think that people it I didn't learn this until later, of course, because yeah, but my default setting in the mornings is like I'm a nightmare and I hate everything. But you know, and a big reason why was like I was playing Russian roulette with my emotions by like going on Instagram or Facebook, and like it's like that's not a good way to start your day because like or like watching the news like that is insane if you actually think about it. And yeah, so like I even when I don't want to, and most of the time I don't want to, I force myself podcast or audiobook in the morning, just like on the way in, and it just gets you on the right track within minutes. It's crazy.
And it's crazy that you mentioned also the social media component because just out of habit, I was clicking on Instagram to get into it and, and replacing that with the Bible app that I
Hmm.
wake up in the morning, and that's the first thing that I look at instead of Instagram, and how different that can
How you
change.
feel after? Yeah, that's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah.
Every hero needs a sidekick. The site seller is yours, helping you ask the right questions, show the right numbers, and land the right solutions. Navigate conversations like a pro and turn every business owner into a believer. Those morning
Um,
habits, I love that you started waking up earlier and spending your like me time. And I did that for a while, and we've done 75 hard at the same time where we're like, okay, first thing get going, you gotta fit those two workouts in. So like I gotta wake up earlier. And lost that habit. So I was telling Michael yesterday, I was like, man, I think I'm gonna after focus, we're gonna do 75 hard again. Like I'm gonna do it again. You know what I mean? Because of how your habits build and how strong they can be. And that morning routine becomes such an ingrained part of you where I've given up social media. which is no more doom scrolling, to reading more books. And when you wake up, I'm either grateful or I'm frustrated. I got to choose one. I can't be both. But filling your head with the right stuff. So podcasts to audibles, as Michael was saying, or like you said, first I'm reading is from a Bible app. And then who you surround yourself with. I think a lot of other leaders we've had on the call, so far, or on our podcast so far, have said very similar things. Of Matt Cook, Joe B, Chris Ashton, all of them have said, who do you surround yourself with? And I think as you grow, we have different seasons in our lives, but also who do we surround ourselves? Who do we want to emulate? Emulate is the right word, not emulate.
Emulates.
Emulates. So let's actually dig back into some of those questions. There are people in your life that have absolutely shaped the person that you are today. And I am going to bring up something you've done and you mentioned in the previous podcast, which was giving gratitude back to a couple of those mentors, right? And writing them a thank you card or a gratitude card. Can you talk me how who that mentor is, how they've shaped, some of the stuff that you've, accomplished as well? And yeah, how did they help you build that resilience?
Yeah. So, gosh, there's so many mentors that come to mind now that have absolutely changed my life by calling me out and letting me know what the sign is on my forehead that I can't see. And also, I think one of the biggest things is I'm open to it. I ask for feedback all the time. If I don't have somebody giving me feedback, the silence is deafening. And that always goes back to what my mom told me, which is, Morgan, if the coach ever isn't paying attention to you, that's when you should be concerned. But if they're hard on you, they believe in you. And so that's always stuck with me. And so that takes it back to my club soccer coach is the one that you're referring to, Michelle, my club soccer coach. There were a couple of very impactful moments where he just framed things for me. And he was the one ultimately that I wrote the letter to. So the first time I tore ACL, MCL, meniscus, popped my knee out of place, and I thought my future to play soccer in college was done at that point, because this happened my junior year in the state tournament. And I was devastated. And I realized at that point in time that when my club soccer coach came over to my house that night to see my family and see how I was doing, he mentioned, hey, you just have until the end of the day to feel sorry for yourself, to wallow in the sadness. The next day, you have a chance to choose how you frame this. If you're going to be better or worse because of this, because you can never stay the same. So just by giving me a time limit on how long I could feel sorry for myself and saying that tomorrow is a new day, you choose where you go from here, you won't play in college unless you do something about this moving forward and you actually find a way to become better because of it. And that was the frame of reference that I needed in order to reshift my focus and put me back in control. And then the other time is I was a procrastinator, a good
Like all of us. Yeah.
Yeah, and I say was as if I'm not still.
Yeah,
I am
we still all are.
my personal life, not as much for my business world. My personal
Right.
life sometimes takes a back seat, but not as much for my professional life. However, in soccer, I ended up playing soccer in college, and I would procrastinate how long or how far in advance I would need to start training for our physical tests. And one summer, my club soccer coach told me going into the summer, the only way that you're going to play is if you become the fittest person on the team. And that was the direction I needed. I think sometimes we are, as coaches, we see how someone could succeed, but we're too afraid to let them know. And in a way, it's kind of telling them we don't actually believe they can do it. So by him telling me, hey, this is the one thing that you can do. If you do this, you'll play. I was so committed to getting into the best shape of my life that summer. And it was the night before we have to run all these fits. And I am so nervous. And that same club coach texted me and said, are you going to allow that 10 minutes where you're running the physical test of 400s, are you going to allow 10 minutes to determine the rest of your season, the rest of your soccer career? And it was just like, okay, fair enough. I got it, and just hey, reminding me I'm ready, reminding me that I have it within me instead of being without. I think that sometimes we think we are always without, instead of
Yeah.
reminding ourselves that we have it all within us to be successful. And so those two things, I ended up writing him a letter and letting him know. And then actually, Michelle, it's pretty crazy that you asked me the same question because my dad is retiring from the same company he's worked for 40 years in next month. And he had somebody write him a letter yesterday and said, some people's job is just that. Some people make it a career that leaves an impact and changes lives like you've changed mine. And
Wow.
he's telling me and he's crying while reading it. And it's just the cool thing to realize you never know the impact that you have on people and to definitely pass that along.
That's
Wow.
pretty amazing. Congrats to your dad.
Yeah.
It's 40-year career into retirement. And it makes for him to have that kind of impact, it creates shows again, products of your parents as well and what how the influence and impact they've made on your life to lead a certain way. And that's pretty phenomenal to see, right? And be able to share that moment with your dad as well. So
Yeah, congratulations to your dad too. That's awesome. And then
Thank
like, yeah, it sounds like you have some pretty awesome parents.
you. I do.
Yeah, yeah, that's I wanted to dive back into something really quick. And first off, you've just to underline or underscore a couple of the you've been saying, it's like obviously having uncomfortable conversations and leaders having those courageous, not even uncomfortable, courageous
very
conversations with
exciting.
you. You've been doing it. You've actually been doing that. You've had it in your athlete career, your personal life, as an athlete as well. So I also want to just do like a quick pivot here because you also talked about moments throughout your early on in your athlete career. So, like as a new associate district sales coordinator, so like in your role now, you've been able to pull best practices from all across the country. You've lived a lot of them. You've been the proof of concept, and then you've worked with incredible leaders, and you just get to like hear feedback from great associates and all that stuff every single day. So, if you were looking back at this moment and you're like, "Hey, I'm Morgan. I'm starting this Aflac thing all over again," what would be some of those things that you would do today, knowing what you know now?
Yeah. Gosh, so I had the chance to do it in my current role because I was a market trainer in Houston for 2.5 years, and now a market trainer in Colorado, New Mexico North. And so the refreshing perspective you have when you step into the role in a different way, a different perspective,
Yeah.
it is, it takes me back to a quote: when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. And the things that I've learned really from a new associate perspective and from a district is, if I were to do it all over again, the new associate, I would say that I would fail more. I
Hmm.
would fail way more. And someone told me at one point, you can't break it.
You can't break it.
And you can't break Aflac, you can't break the opportunity. And that was so refreshing to hear, which allowed me to give myself grace to just say, fail as often as you can. Ask the questions because whatever is most personal is most universal. And that's something I tell all the new associates at every stage in their career is fail as often as you can and learn the lesson from it, to
Mhm.
make note of it so you don't have to repeat the same mistake again. Because as entrepreneurs, the only leg up that we get as entrepreneurs is learning from everybody else's mistakes instead of having to go through the same ones ourselves. We don't have enough time in this opportunity as we're looking to make our first commission check or our next commission check to make all the mistakes ourselves. So fail more yourself, learn from
Fail
other
early. Yeah.
yeah. Fail early, learn from other people's mistakes, learn from your own mistakes, and then also to put more structure in everything you do. As human beings, we thrive on structure. And I know Tripp talked
Yeah.
about the difference between high school and college, and he shared
Yeah.
that with our team as well. And the structure component, those are the ones that I see really succeed when they have their why and then they also have the how, the focus on the structure, because we don't rise to the level of our goals or our work ethic, we fall to the level of our systems. And the way that I think about this is that every time you put a system in place, whether it's in a system or a calendar, anything, anytime you go to a training, You typically take away all these things that you want to be great at, that you want to learn. But if it doesn't go in a system or a calendar right away, it's not going to happen. It's not going to change your life. You're not going to continue to do that. That's just naturally who we are as human beings. And so anytime you put it in a system or a calendar, you're essentially laying a brick behind you that
Yeah.
now allows you to level up and when you fall the next time, knowing that this business is so much of a roller coaster. But if we can create more systems in place and be consistent with the systems, with what's habitual, then the downfall of the roller coaster won't go quite as low as it did the previous time. So I think that's
Mhm.
one of the biggest opportunities, is to create the systems, to plug in, to show up, to fail more, to ask more questions. And the last thing I will say from an agent, and then can get to a district, is from the agent, plug yourself in, share the accountability. The longer you stay in the dark, the more likely you are to see monsters.
Yeah.
And so plug in, plug in. I learned that one from Eric Leger. Plug in as often as you can and don't hide. Often we are afraid that people can see our failures or uh, our shortcomings, and that's why we hide.
Mhm.
And I tell people all the time in sales school, I can see you, right? And so it's just a great opportunity to plug in. And then from a district perspective, two things.
Yeah.
One is, you're not trying to help someone become more like you. You're trying to help someone become more like themselves, become more like the best version of themselves. Because the best thing they can be, if they're trying to be like you, is second best. And
Right.
so helping somebody to become the best version of themselves with the system in place. So with automating a lot of the things that we know are going to happen in this business, but to help them to do it in a way where they're more so in their sweet spots, where their passion and their skill collides.
Great leaders aren't born, they're built. Build the Bench is a fast track to leadership where you'll learn the fundamentals from some of the best in the country. Develop the mindset, skill set, and confidence to lead your teams and drive growth. Because leadership isn't a title, it's a choice to grow. So on the associate side, it's, a couple of them fail early, fail often. Of course. That's exactly. I feel the exact same way. You're not going to break it. It's totally fine. Having systems in place, even if they're like not the best systems, having systems in place. You also kind of talked about how just looking from your role today, and I felt this exact same way as a trainer, where it's like, actually these people are incredible and it's about the system we're putting them through. That's where we're either going to allow them to rise to their absolute peak abilities or down to barely scraping by in mediocrity. So those were huge. Well, Michelle, did you have any other ones that you just like underscore that you want to make sure that the team is like taking away?
Well, as much as I talk about structure in sales school, I really talk about how like blank calendars mean nothing, mean you're not going to accomplish much, versus you gotta, and the content of layering your calendar and making sure you do it every Friday before you start your weekend so you're ready to go on Monday. Because human nature, we thrive in structure. And when we don't have it, we don't
Yeah.
know what to do. We don't know how to make action or take action or make decisions about it too. So repeating that, and
Yeah,
then
those were
yeah. Whatever you've repeated this quote a few times, which I wrote it down when I was listening to the other podcast, was whatever is most personal is most universal. So I think a lot of times we struggle, especially when we're starting something new, to allow vulnerability to be a part of what we're doing and sharing those struggles. Because people can relate to it. And the fact that you've repeated it a
yeah.
couple times here, because it takes a few times for people to stick, as we know, right, with things. I'm actually I'm going to put that into sales school now, as I do with a lot of other things
Yeah.
I learn from others.
It's a
And
great one. Shout out also to Chuck Farmer's podcast because
yeah,
yeah, shout out, man.
great.
Yeah.
Okay, now we could get it. Let's
You get the
talk
daily.
DSC talk. It says Morgan,
Yes.
like you just had so many like good ones there where I was like, we need to like pause and make sure that we
Yeah,
get
well,
these
and I
down.
apologize. Sometimes I really nerd out at this, that I get so excited and just keep talking. So I
No, it's
appreciate.
like, yeah, let's get it all in. Like this, yeah, yeah,
Well, so as a district, if you don't develop a system and an individual to be able to thrive in your absence, you haven't truly developed them.
mm,
And there are many leaders, myself included, where you maybe take a rare vacation or you have to step away and then the whole business falls flat.
Yeah.
And one of the greatest things that I have learned recently is helping other people to realize, the people on your team, is to realize that they have a purpose and a place. They have a purpose, reminding them of why they're here, what is their why. One of the best pieces of advice someone ever gave me was, and I heard this I think at a hub or something a long time ago, was say you're meeting with a brand new agent that just got brought onto your team, save their why in your phone, in your notes as their contact. So every time they call you, you see their why.
Oh,
So you're
that's
reminded of
cool.
why they're doing it and being able to hold them accountable to their own purpose instead of our own goals. And then the other thing is that from a purpose standpoint is, what type of industry does somebody really want to work in? What is near and dear to their heart as far as how they want to grow their business, or how they want to have some sort of the market share or market impact in their own community, and starting from their community, make a list of every single auto body shop that's in your community, and then what is the strategy that you can own to go to market with that, and to
Yeah.
be very intentional about helping them to find a path forward, pulling from the experience and the knowledge that they have instead of starting from scratch. And then the place is, are you creating an environment where the one unique identifier with Aflac that we have is our culture. And a mistake that we have made in the past is taking advantage of the culture that we have and not bringing people together. That is where we at Aflac thrive, is when we're together. And there are many times where we realize, holy smokes, it's been so long. It feels so great. I forgot how much I needed that. And
Yeah.
all of the new agents and all of the veterans feel that same way. We have to get out of our own way of thinking that veterans don't want to be a part of something. That's why they're still here. They are still here for a reason, to be a part of something bigger than themselves. And so creating an environment where people have the chance to show up is one of the best things that you can do from a district, is to help them find a purpose and a place at their place of employment. And that is the way where you can continue to have different projects going on within your business and continue to scale that, because you have people that are passionate about what they're doing and there is a culture that is within it. And then the one of the final things is, find your successor. Find your
Yeah.
successor. And I I'm a big fan of Ted Lasso. This will be the last thing I'll say. I'm a big fan of Ted Lasso. It is one of my favorite shows. I've rewatched it, I think, 4 times.
Same.
Hig
Final season though. I don't know. But
Well, they say there's
for
gonna be a 4th. They say
yeah,
there's gonna be a 4th,
redemption.
so
Yeah, yeah,
holding out
yeah.
hope.
But first two, my God. But yeah.
Yeah, and so Higgins talks about, a mentor, and that's really what districts and regions are, is a
Hmm.
mentor. And he said good mentors hope that whoever they're leading or training will move on. And I'm probably botching this quote, but he says, "A great mentor knows they will move on."
Yeah.
And I think that
Damn.
that's the biggest opportunity that we have as a district, is to help people become the best version of themselves and lift the ceiling that we have on our potential as leaders and the potential that the people on our team have, instead of casting our own inhibitions or frustrations or challenges onto somebody else.
Absolutely.
Perfect quote.
Those are that's gold, Morgan, gold. And I also, again, these are a couple notes that I was taking. It's just individuals to thrive in your absence, while in your absence, and then knowing that, yeah, that those are huge. I loved also the other one. It was thinking anytime that you're doing a meeting or running a training, think, learn, feel. Were those the three of, you want to make sure that they think, make sure that they learn something, and make sure that they feel something. That was huge. One other one was just like that, Michelle and I would talk about this a lot, but it's like low key to something that like is so powerful, is to help start scaling your business, is empowering your team weekly to own part of the task, own part of the sales meeting, own part of the motivation for the team, own part of the accountability. Our top DSE and new accounts, he hasn't run 1 week of accountability for his team. It's always a new person inside of his team that's running it for it. So those are just like gold, Morgan. We appreciate that so much.
Yeah. Well, and I've been pulling from best practices from y'all's podcast up to this point on lead elevation and new account opportunities is helping me prepare for my next ACM. So
Heck yeah,
thank y'all for doing this and
for
for
sure.
best practices.
Attracting and keeping the best talent means offering more than just a paycheck. Aflac Value Added Services delivers real-life support for your team. Financial wellness through BrightDime provides employees with the real-time, holistic financial picture to help improve spending habits, create budgets, and tackle debt reduction. Employees can keep track of all financial accounts so they can set goals and track progress towards establishing financial security. Aflac Value Added Services, because supporting your team means supporting their whole well-being.
We are now entering our rapid fire round, which this week is sponsored by Tostitos. If you text Tostitos in the LA Legends group me, Michelle Lee will buy you a bag of ducks for the first 5 people that do it. So randomly, when this episode comes out, we are going to buy 5 people bags of ducks if you're in our market. Don't join us if you're not in our market. But anyways, on our rapid fire round, one purchase that you've made, and this could be personally or professionally, under $100 this year that's made the most impact on your life.
I would say we have started to incorporate a sales school dinner after sales school. So I would say per time is around that. And I
Okay.
just realized that that's been one of the most impactful things that we've done this year is bringing that back.
That's pretty cool. That's a good one. All right, Michelle.
So if you had a chance to have a billboard with one quote, right, or something that is you that you want everybody in your market to see, or your friends, your family that amplifies you, what would that billboard say?
I love this question so much. This is a phrase that I often play in my mind because you can tell I'm a talker. And so I had to learn this skill. It's be more interested than interesting.
Good one.
That's good. Love that. I love that one. A lot of us are readers and, we love books, stuff like that. What's a book that you've recommended or gifted the most?
So and you'll love this because I know Austin Peterson told me that you built your district around this book. So I have 2 books I have to share. The Sales Leaders Playbook.
Yes.
Phenomenal book. If you are a new leader at Aflac, you're stepping into a CIT or a district role and you haven't read that, buy it now.
Absolutely.
Buy it now. And then the second one is one that Adam gave me. Phenomenal book. It's called Unreasonable Hospitality. And it talks about the ways that you can go above and beyond.
It's such a
Such
great
a good
book.
book.
Such a good
We
book.
read,
It's
we
such
started our year with that book, Michael and I did.
I had it moved to the market office or near the market office. Yeah. And I was like driving in just like Michelle does basically every day, but an hour and a half. And I was like, Michelle, this is everything. God, Unreasonable Hospitality is it's fun too. It's a fun
Yes.
book.
Multiple leaders have
Yeah.
shared that book, which is great.
And the limit does not exist on being able to just take it up a notch.
Mhm.
It's such a great perspective to look through.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they stole it in the bear, but with the pizza thing. But the hot dog, when they got that hot dog for that, my God, it's
I know,
amazing.
right?
It's crazy. Yeah,
Such a
So good.
so good, so good. Wow, that was a lot. We really appreciated this, Morgan, and time went by too quick. I think that we absolutely need to do something like this again with you and have you on because you just have so much built in there, and we didn't even get to expand on half the things. And I know Michelle and I both have pages of notes. I just want to personally, I want to say thank you for investing your time with us today. I think that this is going to be really impactful for a lot of our newer people and really impactful for a lot of our future leaders and current leaders. So just thank you for that.
Well,
That's
thank you
awesome.
both for having me on and for being the leaders that you are, because it impacts so many people outside of your market, like myself, just in the way that you lead. So thank you both.
I hope a lot of people listening to today can actually relate to some of those struggles, right? Getting into the business as well, leveraging your personal stuff, your personal growth to put it into the business that you're in today as well. So I'm inspiring a lot of them to reframe those opportunities for growth. So for everyone tuning in, remember the road to success isn't always smooth, but your mindset determines how far you can go. So thank you for listening to the LA Legends. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep leading with purpose.